former Clay County Sheriff remembering his colleague who has died in the line of duty due to COVID-19. Troy Kless with the story and memories of Sgt Eric Twisdale tonight on First Coast News.
A massive cleanup from what was Hurricane Sally as the storm system dumps more rain on the East Coast, including here in Jacksonville.
Queso the puppy is recovering after a Good Samaritan stepped in and saved her life.
I'm Dawn White, and I'll have more on what animal control believes someone did to her.
This is First Coast News on your side.
Thank you for joining us on this Thursday at 5. I'm Anthony Austin, along with my co-anchors Jeannie Blaylock and Heather Crawford. We'll get to them in just a moment, but first.
He was truly someone that you knew you could count on at all times.
This is the face of COVID-19 that you see next to me. Decades of service, decorated for his work saving someone from drowning and apprehending murder suspects. Sgt Eric Twisdale died in a line of duty from the coronavirus, and now a community is remembering this local hero. First Coast News reporter Troy Kless was there this morning as his body was escorted to the funeral home. Troy.
Thank you, Anthony. Much of Sgt Twisdale's time spent serving at the Clay County Sheriff's Office was underneath Sheriff Rick Beseler, who has since retired. Now, Beseler described his friend Twisdale as a leader within the department and also someone that he hopes that other deputies will have the same drive and attitude that he did.
There's a real sense of loss, not only of a professional law enforcement officer for our community, but as a friend.
Rick Beseler says he had the honor of giving Twisdale the Officer of the Year award in 2015. Twisdale was awarded the Medal of Valor for catching 2 murder suspects after a 3-county car chase.
He put his own personal safety aside to bring this thing to a conclusion, and by picking a spot where there was very little traffic on top of a bridge where the suspects would have very limited opportunity to escape.
Beseler, who served for 12 years, remembers this day fondly.
I was so proud of him that day, and I'm still proud of him today, and we're going to miss him terribly. He was just a man among men, an officer among officers, and he's just a fine human being.
The over 30-year veteran was also a father and grandfather. He received an escort to Hardage Giddens Funeral Home on Thursday. Clay County Sheriff's Office, the Clay County Fire Rescue, and others, including the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, in attendance. Beseler says as Twisdale got older, he never let any physical illness slow him down. When hearing of Twisdale dying due to COVID-19, he says he experienced the pain of a great loss.
To lose a man of his character and his ability, it seems like God always calls home the best, and I think in this case that's what happened.
At this point, funeral arrangements are still in the works, according to the Clay County Sheriff's Office. And again, Beseler said that this is a really heavy loss for not just Clay County, but the entire law enforcement community here in Northeast Florida. Live in Riverside, Troy Kless, First Coast News on your side.
Putting the curve in context for you tonight, more than 2,300 new cases added in Florida. The curve is continuing to drop. Right now, we're at the same level we saw 3 months ago, but at that time, the curve was heading up. Now let's take a closer look at the COVID deaths statewide. This is the latest data available. 188 deaths reported yesterday. That is the 5th straight day we've seen the number of deaths increasing. The curve in this category has remained somewhat flat, with some minor up and downs there. That's happened over the past 2 weeks, but that follows a trend of going down for 1 month.
And so now to the learning curve classrooms in COVID-19. Duval County Public Schools reported another 4 new cases of the coronavirus for the district. 2 students and 2 staff members have tested positive. That brings the total since the start of the school year to 42 students and 20 staff members. And new numbers from the Duval County School District are giving us an idea of how the return to brick and mortar has played out for teachers in Jacksonville. For weeks now, there have been a lot of difficult decisions made by parents and educators about whether to return to class, and for teachers, whether to return to their jobs. From the start of August into September, the number of teachers who've decided to retire nearly doubled. 40 during that time period compared to just over 20 last year. And resignations are up as well, 59 compared to 48 last year. We spoke with one Terry Parker High School teacher who says acclimating to the new learning environment has been far from easy.
Some of us could leave. I could leave. I don't want to. I have other things that I could do, and I have resources that I can rely on. A lot of people aren't in that position because they've fully invested themselves as far as their finances and everything into education.
We appreciate all that our teachers are doing for our kids, and we'll have a lot more from him coming up tonight at 6. Meanwhile, I want to let you know that all 7th and 8th grade students in hybrid learning are set to return to the classroom full-time next Monday in Duval County. High schoolers will do the same the following week. And be sure to stay up to date with all the changes happening in our school districts all across the First Coast. You can get the latest information sent right to your phone. Just text the word school to 904-633-8808 and we'll send you that information.
Well, we are more than 6 months into the pandemic now. We are still committed to spreading facts, not fear for you. You know, we talk a lot about COVID-19 tests, how many the state has processed, where to get one, how to get one, but how about what type of COVID test to get? You know, we've all seen these pictures and yeah, it's easy to feel a little uneasy. That scary looking Q-tip basically going up your nose. This is called a genetic test. So far it's proven to be the most accurate, but it's not perfect. You need a good swab to detect it. That's why that long Q-tip goes so far up your nose, and not all of them look or feel as uncomfortable as this. Some use spit instead of swab. Now, there are also antigen tests you can get. These are newer. This test looks for proteins found on the surface of the coronavirus rather than the virus itself. You still need to get a nose or throat swab for this one. It's still pretty new and not as accurate as the genetic test, but they are cheaper. It takes about 15 minutes to get results. And then there are antibody tests that can reveal if you've already had the virus. The test looks for a specific protein in a blood sample, and these tests are useful to scientists because it helps them figure out how many people have been infected.
And so, Anthony, methods being used to prevent the spread of COVID-19 may help reduce flu activity this fall. That's according to a new report out now from the CDC. The scientists say flu cases in the United States dropped sharply, in fact, within 2 weeks of the COVID-19 emergency declarations this spring. That is when widespread community mitigation measures started. We all know them well: school closures, social distancing, and mask wearing. Experts say those measures, plus getting that flu shot, might help flu cases stay low this season, and that would help everybody. And here on the First Coast, we have launched a Flu Vax Jax campaign. It's a push to get you vaccinated ahead of the upcoming flu season. The goal is to get to close to 50% of the First Coast vaccinated to help keep flu hospitalizations down during the pandemic so we don't stress out the hospitals. We have everything you need to know about getting the flu shot on our website at firstcoastnews.com.
All right, let's talk about the weather now in Jacksonville. Right now, we are under a coastal flood advisory. Rain today, combined with sea levels 2 feet above normal, are causing some flooding in San Marco. Take a look at this. You can see the road closest to the river not draining fast enough. So most of the water you see there is from washover from the river. This is turning onto River Road. So the question is, how long is this rain going to last? For the answer, let's send it straight over to meteorologist Tim Deegan with your most accurate forecast. Hi, Tim.
Hello, Heather. Thank you very much. And it kind of gets complicated. So the coastal flood advisory has been in effect. The water levels will stay high, partly because of the push from Paulette. And Paulette isn't even part of the picture anymore. It's the swell that pushed the ocean levels up, several days ago, in combination with the new moon. The tornadoes of last night, the wind damage of last night, the showers of today, that's all because of, well, we call it the tropical tail. So there goes what's left of Sally. Do you see why we call it the tail? So although Sally well off to our north, as the wind's wrapping around Sally meets tropical moisture, these lines of showers, we call them squalls, race on through, and they've been doing that especially from late morning through the afternoon. The strongest have now headed offshore. There is one more line, and the most of it is pretty much Duval south. This very last line, last portion of Sally's tail, so to speak, will head offshore right about 6 o'clock. What's next? A strong, cool front. We'll take a look.
And if you want to stay up to date around the clock on the weather and the news, you need the First Coast News app. And you can get it by texting the word app to us. Text it to 904-633-8808, and we will send you a link to download the app so you can have the latest weather at your fingertips anytime.
Thomashusseri Jr. pleaded not guilty in federal court to a single charge of distributing images showing child sexual abuse. Husseri Jr., a former Mayport Elementary School teacher, was arrested in August on state charges and later rearrested on similar federal charges. But because of the COVID pandemic, a lot of things have slowed down. That includes the work of a grand jury, so he was not formally charged until Wednesday. Husseri faces between 5 years to life in prison if convicted. His trial date is set for November 2nd.
So this next story is going to make you mad. I mean, really mad if you love animals. But I'll tell you now, the puppy survived, so hang in there with us. People at Nassau County Animal Services tell us somebody tried to kill, oh, look at him, isn't he cute, a helpless animal. We're talking a 20-foot fall from a bridge. Tonight, the puppy is recovering, and the search is on for the Good Samaritan who jumped into the water and saved the pup's life. On your side's Dawn White has more about this harrowing tale of survival.
Those here at Nassau County Animal Services have seen it all.
We've seen them thrown out of cars, lots of horrible things.
Then they got a call from a woman around 5 p.m. last Thursday who told them a puppy was thrown off the Blue Bridge on Route 17 at the Florida-Georgia line.
She spoke with a gentleman there that was fishing, who turned out to be the Good Samaritan that went swimming and looking for the puppy.
The puppy, now named Queso and believed to be a 10-week-old terrier mix, miraculously survived.
With the currents that go through underneath that bridge and how small the puppy is, I'm surprised that it made it.
Veterinarians at First Coast No More Homeless Pets spayed Queso today. She'll be up for adoption when she recovers, so you can put in an application if you want to give this sweet girl her forever home.
There's only a handful for her right now. So we'll look through them, and whatever we think the best fit for her will be is where she'll be placed.
If you are this man or know who he is, Nassau County Animal Services would love to speak with you.
We'd love to speak to him if he's available to talk. Understand if he wants to remain anonymous, but it was a great thing that he did, and we appreciate it. I'm sure the puppy does.
Queso has quite the tale of survival to tell. From being in this water to getting a second chance at life. Dawn White, First Coast News, on your side.
Oh my goodness, Queso, we love your ears. And I hope that gentleman will come forward. He deserves a big round of applause. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll follow up for you. Next, we're going to take you beyond the ballot. What you need to know to make sure that your vote gets counted in November.